Bonjour, bienvenue dans ma chaîne. Si vous voulez en savoir plus sur mon voyage qui continue à regarder. Merci. Hey guys, it's Emily. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to start off my travel series with my trip to Paris. If you want to skip forward to the video footage of my trip and some pictures I took while I was there, put where you should skip to right up here so you can just watch that if you don't want to listen to me ramble about my trip. But sadly, I didn't get enough video footage to make just a complete video or like a vlog style of my trip, so I am going to just be talking to you a little bit about my experience in Paris and what we did throughout our trip in the beginning of the video before I show some of the footage I took and some pictures I took through my trip. You only have one life, and I believe you should get out there as much as you can, explore and accept other cultures and other ways of living. Traveling is a huge passion of mine, and I'm pretty fortunate to have traveled quite a bit still being this young. So if you want to hear me ramble about my amazing experience in Paris, then just keep watching. So I was lucky enough to travel to Paris last spring with my mother, and we stayed with her best friend that lives there with her husband and 2 kids. So that was really cool because we didn't have to stay in a hotel, and we had our own little personal tour guide throughout our trip. We stayed for 7 days, and we filled those 7 days with all we could do. If you don't know this, I am a huge French person. I love anything French. I've studied French since 7th grade, and now I'm a senior in high school, and I think that's where my passion started, is just French class and learning the language. I was so into it. I absolutely love the culture and learning about a new language so young, and also I am part French. My grandfather was French, hence my last name Fonville, and that just adds a little bit more to it because I feel almost like I belong there in a way. I'm a little obsessed with anything French. Not only the language and the culture there, but I am a huge fashion person, and French fashion has always stood out to me. Audrey Hepburn is one of my biggest inspirations, and although she's not French, she always dressed very French inspired, and I just love that classic French look. So Paris has always been a huge dream of mine to travel to. I could never imagine going there. And when my mom told me this is our last chance to go to Paris because her friend was moving back to America the year after that, I was like, are you kidding me? I'm only 16 and I'm already going to Paris, my like absolute dream traveling experience. So this was one of the most memorable trips ever in my whole life, and oh my god, I'm getting emotional. The things I experienced in Paris, I really can't experience anywhere else. I think being able to speak the language that I studied in high school and middle school to real French people was so incredible. On our first day, on our first full day there, we got to go to authentic French markets, so like an open air market where they sell a little bit of, we went more to like an antique like furniture market. I'm not exactly sure what you call it. And the market that we went to was so cool. It was just rows and rows and rows of these little cubbies, these little areas where people just sold vintage furniture, authentic art, and lights, and mirrors, and all this cool stuff. It was so fun walking through there. And this was my absolute favorite day, because we did all the touristy stuff as well within our trip because it was my first time there. But my mom's friend Melissa really said, you need to go here, and she took us there to this market where we got to experience such authentic French culture and people. And I remember this one man, my mom loved these earrings. These earrings were like this gold diamond. I'll put a picture in if I can find them. And they were like these antique earrings, and she's like, Emily, I want these. Can you ask that man, like, how much are they? There's this French man selling them. And just being able to speak to him in the language that I know, like, for my mom, was so cool. And that normally, like, throughout the rest of my trip, when we were, like, at the Eiffel Tower or very popular restaurants in France, I would speak French, but they would know I'm American because I don't have the perfect accent. And since they knew I was American, then they'd start speaking English back, and it was just kind of funny because the French would speak English and I'd speak French. But then we just end up speaking English because it was easier for both of us. But within this authentic market, these people didn't, either they didn't notice that I was American or they didn't know English themselves as well. I'm not really sure, but this man didn't speak English. He was really comprehending my language of French, and I think that was so cool that I got to like really talk to someone that I don't know in a completely different language and that he understood me. It was like bizarre almost. I'm looking at pictures on my laptop just so I remember like what we did in order, just so I don't forget anything. Another thing about Paris that isn't like any other city is how old it is. The city of Paris isn't like New York or LA or London. Not that I've been to all those places. It doesn't have the skyscrapers and like the fast moving pace in it. Paris is so old and ancient and vintage that it adds so much more to the feeling of being there. Everything is topped off with gold foil on the angels of all these like beautiful statues, and the parks are amazing. All their bushes, I'm looking at this picture right now. This one park, there was just a row of trees. I'll put pictures in when I'm talking about stuff if I can find them. Just the parks were so magnificent, and you can tell they put a lot of work into it to make the city beautiful. And I love the little, like, I feel like this is very French, just the little table with the two little chairs, which are like spread out all over the city just to sit and drink some coffee or tea. I think that is very authentic to them. Also, the statues everywhere, like there's just these statues in the middle of the park that are beautiful and like gold foiled, and it's like, oh my gosh, like this is a real place. Like there's nothing else like this. And seeing in some spots you're just standing in the middle of the city and you look up and you see the Eiffel Tower from like miles away, and it's absolutely beautiful. The Eiffel Tower is way bigger than you would imagine in person. You're standing under it and you're like this little ant. That was really cool. Also, another big thing that I loved about Paris that was like nothing else is like the fresh fruit markets and the fresh fruit stands and food stands just all throughout the city. So if you live in Paris and you just want to run downstairs from your apartment, walk like a block down the street, and there's just these beautiful like outdoor fruit markets where you just pick up a few things and go back home. I think it's really cool that you can live a little bit simpler in Paris, like such as like every day-to-day things. You can just go to the market and grab some fruit and you're good to go. The metro is so fun. Being able to ride the metro with all these Parisians and I'm so weird. The whole time I was like, Mom, we can't look like tourists. I don't want to look like a tourist. I want to look like I live here. I want to look like I know what I'm doing, even though I didn't. So whenever we were on, Melissa told us, my mom's friend Melissa told us that when you go on the metro, you'll notice that all these Parisians, they sit and you're all squished on there, like the rush hour time of day, and they all just sit there and they're all just like this. And they just sit there. And they don't have like any emotion. They all look upset, and it's like, that's weird. But they're not. They just do that. They don't really talk. Like a lot of people have headphones in on the metro. They just sit there after work or after school, wherever they're coming from. So I was like, Mom, and of course Americans, if we were on there, we'd all be talking and loud and all that. And Melissa and my mom would always be talking and like talking about all this stuff, and of course I'd be super excited wanting to talk about all this stuff. Oh, my scarf keeps coming undone. But I would just sit there and I'm like, Mom, we have to make the Parisian face. We have to be just like them. We have to fit in. So we'd like sit there and just like look around and just like hope people don't know that we're American, even though like they can probably tell just from our outfit or whatever. This one night, we were out all day doing a bunch of stuff. I can't even remember what we did that day. And we came home around like 6-ish, and we had dinner with Melissa. It was awesome. She made dinner for us and ate with her family. And I was like, Mom, it's only 7. What are we doing? Why are we sitting in an apartment when we're in Paris? We have to go do something. And she's like, okay, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, let's just go to the Eiffel Tower. Why not? I want to see the Eiffel Tower at night. I want to see the sparkles and everything. And she's like, okay, you sure? Aren't you tired? Because the time zone is so crazy that like we wouldn't sleep at night, and then we'd want to sleep in, but we'd get up super early, so we have a full day ahead of us. But I was like, yes, Mom, come on, let's go. So, of course, Melissa has to put her kids to bed, things like that. She's busy. So I'm like, okay, let's just go. It's dark out, and me and my mom are in the city of Paris. We don't know where we're going. We don't know where the Eiffel Tower is. Melissa tried giving us some directions on the metro, like take this line to this line and get off on this line. And if you haven't been on the metro, or if you've never like heard about the metro, it's basically like an underground subway. So it's like a train underground, and they have all these lines. So like most of the lines are like colored and named. You'll get on like line 9 and go, you have to like know which way you're going though, because it goes this way and this way. So you have to like make sure you're going this way to get on the next line, which is 11 or blah blah blah. It's really confusing. But me and my mom were like, okay, we're looking at this map, and the map is crazy because it's all these lines, different colors, like all through the city, and you're all underground. And we're like, okay, we have to get here, and we're way over here. So we finally get it. We're on the metro. It's dark, and like sometimes, yes, it can be sketchy. You're in a city, let's be honest. It's sketchy everywhere. And we finally get to the Eiffel Tower, and one thing about Paris and a lot of cities people don't realize until you're actually doing it, just because you're going from here to here on a subway or the metro doesn't mean you're going to get off the metro and be exactly where you want to be. So we get off on the Eiffel Tower stop, but of course it's like 2 miles away still. So we're walking. Lots of people trying to sell us stuff, of course, little Eiffel Tower figures, blah blah blah. We get there, and oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. The lights and how big it was, and all the people. And even though the little guys selling like little Eiffel Towers are annoying sometimes, but it's just so cool being there and seeing them. So yeah, that was really fun. That was like our first time traveling by ourselves in Paris, and we did it at night. Not the best idea, but we did it anyways, and I think that was super memorable with my mom. My favorite like touristy spot besides the like markets, because that's not really touristy, was Sacré-Cœur, the church. That's the church on top of the hill, way up high, and it has like the rounded tops with the stairs going up. It was so amazing. You have to walk up so many stairs, and like you have to get up all this like, you have to go up so many stuff just to get to the church itself. And then once you get to the church, you can go inside and do your little prayer and light a candle and experience that. But then you can also go up like the sides of the church on these really spinny stairs. It was hilarious because my mom just kept getting like sick in there because you're literally walking like this, and it's so like tight, and you're in this like stone wall, and you can't get out unless you keep going. So we went all the way up to the top. It was like never ending, and the view from the top was so beautiful. You saw the whole city, and again, like I said, Paris doesn't have like some huge skyscrapers, so you're not seeing that. You're on this huge hill, the very top of a church, and you're seeing all these buildings below you with all these streets, and you can see clear as day the Eiffel Tower, clear as day the Arc de Triomphe. You can see all these amazing monuments that are known all over the world just from this one church. And I think that's really cool about Paris because everything is so low, and then they put these monumental statues throughout the city, like very evenly spread out almost. Like you have the Eiffel Tower here, and then over here you have the Arc de Triomphe, and then over here you have Sacré-Cœur. And it was just really cool seeing that from so high up. And I'm going to show you this picture. It was so funny. Me and my mom, of course, are having like a photo shoot in the church because we have a photo shoot everywhere we go. And I was like standing like this looking out into the city, and she's taking a picture from behind me. And it's super dark up there, like the walls are super old, of course, it's an ancient church. And we're taking pictures, whatever. And then every night when we went to bed, we'd get on my laptop and I'd click like the little slideshow button on my Mac, and we'd just slideshow, like do a slideshow of all the pictures we took within that one day. And it was so funny. My mom was like, go back to that picture of you, like looking out in the city. So I went back, and in the corner, like up on the building, because we had the flash on, it says my name, like engraved. It's like Emily, and it's like the French way of spelling Emily, right in the in the corner. I'll show you a picture. It's like, how ironic, because you can't see that when you're up there because it's so dark. The only reason we could see is because we had the flash on in the picture. And I was like, that is incredible. Like, that's a sign that I was supposed to go here. Of course, we bought some macaroons. Those were delicious. Oh, the Notre Dame. The Notre Dame was a little bit more like Gothic inspired instead of like more elegant like Sacré-Cœur, and of course I like Sacré-Cœur a lot more with the church itself, but I felt like I learned a lot more within the Notre Dame because when we went in they had a lot of like different posters up where you could read and like learn about the church. Notre Dame took almost 200 years to build, which is almost the whole Gothic time period within that era. And just knowing that the people who started building that never got to see the result, and the people that finished building it never got to see the beginning, I think that was really interesting thinking about that. That this church has just been through a lot itself, like physically, and being able to step on those real floors and this like huge open area with these stained glass windows and this awesome, like, all these little details. It's like, how did these people build this so many years ago without the tools that we have today? Like, even today we don't build stuff like this, and we have so much more technology. I think that's really cool. Oh my gosh, I have to explain the cafe cremes, but we had this beautiful lunch in this like little gardened area outside, and it was really beautiful. That was one of my favorite lunches I had. Especially we had Melissa with us that day, so it was me, my mom, and Melissa eating together. That was really cool. So back to the cafe cremes. I'm a huge coffee drinker, tea drinker, and anything like that. And going to Paris and be able to drink coffee in Paris, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, coffee in Paris, are you kidding me? And we always got the cafe creme, which is just coffee with cream. But it is not just like coffee with cream like you have in America. If you ask for coffee with cream in America, it's completely different in Paris. I, honest to God, had maybe 5 to 10 of these a day. I'm not kidding. Anytime I finished one, I wanted a new one from somewhere else. And they were so amazing because it had like this foam on top, kind of like a cappuccino, but it wasn't a cappuccino. It was just so authentic and like that really good, I don't know, like there's nothing else like it. I've never had anything like this before, and it was just coffee with cream, as they would say. Oh my gosh, of course, me loving fashion and makeup and anything like that. All their like big shopping centers, their show windows are so cool. The fashion there is so elaborate and like so unique. They had this one woman, I'll show a picture, my mom's looking at her in the picture. She's wearing these huge flared pants with like rips on the side and this like blue knitted coat with this cool bag. And then also in the show window there's like bookcases on either side with all these books, and then there's pages of the books laid all over the floor. And like, I just thought that was an awesome show window. These things just caught my eye in Paris because I feel, this is of course just opinion and what I felt like myself, me being like Parisian obsessed, that like they just put so much time into everything there. Don't really know how to say it in French. I'm just gonna guess Hermès. And that is the iconic like high-end, very high-end fashion brand. We have it in America, it's all over the world. And it's known for like the iconic orange look. It had these beautiful orange flowers, all these orange boxes, and they're known for their scarves. Hence, I am wearing my Hermès scarf right now. This was the one, I'll take it off and show you. This was the one piece we bought from Paris that kind of symbolized our trip because, one, my mom really wanted to go to Hermès and check it out. Two, the scarves are so iconic within Hermès and within Paris. Three, it is a very high-end, iconic fashion line. Think of buying that just one very known thing, something that you will actually wear and use. We bought one of those small square scarves because it is so expensive there. This is what we got. We wanted something with a little bit of that orange color on it because that is so like iconic within Hermès. But then the purple and the gray, it wasn't like too flashy, but it was really beautiful. And it also says like Hermès Paris on it. Hermès Paris right there. So that just wearing it, I feel so Parisian when I wear it. I don't wear it that often just because sometimes I feel like I look like a flight attendant, but anyways, talk about Paris forever, honestly. Skip ahead if you don't want to hear me talk about this because I'm just talking just for the fun of it. The flower shops they have are so incredible. They're like, you can go inside but barely, and most of it's just all on the street, and have these all beautiful colorful flowers that you can just pick up on your way home, take them home with you, and it adds so much to the city seeing these just pop-up flower shops everywhere just on the side of, like on the sidewalk. I feel like it adds so much greenery and just freshness to a city that, of course, any big city is very like claustrophobic and lots of fumes and just kind of like dirty almost. But Paris like takes that away with their beautiful gardens and flowers and little gold top features everywhere. The Champs-Élysées was beautiful. That is like the iconic street in Paris that just goes straight down, and at the very end it's the Arc de Triomphe. And on that street, it's like the shopping street. It has all the big name brands on there. It has Zara. One day we took one of the like little carts that like the guys ride their bike, and we sit in the cart and we went all the way down the Champs-Élysées on that, and that was really cool just having that view. As well, we went down that street multiple times in a taxi just to get home because they did live close to the Arc de Triomphe, so we were always around there. That was really, really cool. We didn't spend a whole lot of time actually walking on the Champs-Élysées because it was lots of shopping and stores we have back at home anyways, so we didn't want to just spend our money on stuff like that. But yeah, it was a really, really amazing view. We also went to Musée d'Orsay, which I loved Musée d'Orsay. I loved that one more than the Louvre. We went to the Louvre too. We had lunch in the little cafe at Musée d'Orsay, which was awesome. And they have this magnificent gold clock. I have a picture of me in front of it. Well, like, of course. They have this huge see-through clock. And guess what you see through that clock? You see Le Sacré-Cœur through that clock, way up on the hill, far in the distance, but you know it's Le Sacré-Cœur. And I saw my absolute favorite statue. It is the ballerina. I should know her name. I'm so awful. I should know the name of the statue, but it's the ballerina, the first statue with real fabric added onto it. She's standing like this. I have a picture of me imitating her, and she has the real bow in her hair and the real skirt, and I think that's a beautiful statue, especially me being a former ballerina and dancer. That statue means a lot to me. La Seine, the river that goes through Paris, is bigger and more beautiful than I could ever imagine. It is very, very wide with all these bridges going across. And they have these awesome like little boat restaurants almost. They're like little, yeah, like the restaurants on a boat, but then they have chairs and tables like on the sidewalk where you can sit and eat just on the river. And we never did that. I wish we would, but we ran out of time. One day I have a bunch of clips from this because I took my GoPro with me when I did this. We rode our bikes all through the city, like on our first, I think it was our first day, like first morning or first night, just to kind of get like a feel for the city and like just kind of tour it a little bit on the bikes. And we just went all throughout the city on the bikes, and we rode down by the water. You'll see in the clips. It's really, really cool. Louvre was awesome, but of course you could never do the whole museum in one day. Like, it would almost take a week to look at everything in there. We just went to some of the like iconics. We went to the Mona Lisa, saw her. We saw some of the really pretty statues. Oh my gosh, I forgot about this. We went to the cemetery called Père Lachaise. It is like the most famous cemetery all over the world, and at first, like when I heard we were going to this cemetery, I was like, oh great, we're going to a cemetery on my last day in Paris, like cool. Not exactly what I wanted to do. Some parents can do little tours like every week, and so the tour this week was Père Lachaise, so we got to go on the tour with the tour guide and all these other moms, and I learned so much. And I'll show you pictures again. These tombs are like actual like mini houses. I'm not even kidding. You can go inside and leave flowers, and there's these very, very famous names. Famille Huysman was one of the men. Their whole family, I think, is buried there, and he's the man that invented all the architecture within Paris. The very iconic, old-looking, like regal looking architecture and stone details. He was the man that started all that within Paris, so that was really, really cool. The man that invented the metro is buried there, Gilbert Mourad. And it's really funny, everyone leaves their metro tickets on his little tomb. I signed my name and left my ticket there. It's just these little old brick pavers throughout the cemetery that you can walk up and down, and there's street names, and it's huge. Jim Morrison's buried there, which of course my mom and Melissa wanted to see very bad. And they had to fence his up a little bit because of so many tourists come here. And on the fence, everyone leaves their hair ties just as a sign of I'm not exactly sure what the hair ties stand for. I think it's just because it's women always going there. My mom and Melissa did some yoga poses in front of him. My time in Paris has meant the world to me that I was able to go so young. Even if I just lived there for a year, that's definitely on my bucket list. I'm a huge dreamer. I have very big goals, and I think that's what keeps me motivated in life, is that I want to reach those goals. So hopefully one day you will see me in Paris again, and I will get much more footage there because, yeah, so if you made it this far in the video listening to me ramble, thank you. Thank you for listening to me. I'm sure that was awesome. But yes, I really encourage you guys to step out of your comfort zone or just really push to go places that you've always dreamed of. Don't just say it as if, oh, that will never happen. Strive for what you want to do, and I just really encourage you guys to not make your goals small, make your goals big, and just dream what you want to dream and do it, because you only live one life. And I know thinking about it realistically, including money and time and all that, is sometimes hard, but you can't just let that step in front of you and get in the way of your goals, because then it won't ever happen. So yes, I know I'm very fortunate, very lucky to have gone so early in life, but I think this has really pushed me and motivated me to live an even fuller life after being able to experience that in Paris. So yeah, if you want to keep watching, or if you've already skipped to that part of my fun little videos and slideshow I put together, then just keep watching. Au revoir, merci. It's a video. Hi! Hi! Trip. Trip. Now, let's go to settings. And let's something to you. Like it did to me. I got her. See you side, tell me about it. If you wanna leave, make you can. Oh, baby, baby, so I'm messy. Wanna get by just to put a smile, smile. Oh, baby, baby, so I will. Something to you, like it did to me. I wish I could stay as new as when you first found me. Well, my head is tired from just trying to hide my views. But I keep trying my best just to keep you. So that
your books, but I know how to look out for you. I come with a head and a heart, been using it from the start. When my brain is dark, the suffering comes from you. Still I keep trying my best just to please you.
On sèche les cours, la flemme marque le quotidien. Être en couple, ça fait mal que quand il tient. Même si j'ai rien à prouver, je me sens un peu seul. J'ai toujours pas trouvé la pièce manquante du puzzle. En possession de drogue, les jeunes sont fêtards. Quelle ironie de mourir en position fétale. Je viens à peine de naître, demain je serai vieux. Mais je vais tout faire pour être à jamais ce rêveur. On verra bien ce que l'avenir nous réservera. On verra bien, vas-y viens on n'y pense pas. On verra bien ce que l'avenir nous réservera. On verra bien, on verra bien. Ce soir on ira faire un tour chez l'épicier ouvert en bas. Et on parlera d'amour entassé sur une véranda, élevé par une vraie randa. J'ai des valeurs qui verront pas. Être un homme ça prend du temps comme commander un verre en boîte. J'ai le vertige quand je pense à toute la route qui me reste à accomplir. Je suis prêt à te casser les couilles si t'as bu, je te laisserai pas conduire. Le temps s'affile, on a peur d'enchaîner les défaites et puis rater sa vie, pas de projet à part mater des DVD piratés. Ah, on verra bien. Tout le monde rend fou, tout le monde est en guerre, Plus on se rend flou, et moins on voit clair, Quand t'as pas d'argent, dans ce monde t'as pas de droit, Y'a ceux qui cassent en tête et ceux qui tapent à trois, Combien de fois j'ai volé par flemme de faire la queue, Mon papa me croit pas mais ça sente le tabac froid, On se fait chier au taf, on attend les camps va, On se parle derrière un ordi mais en vrai quand est-ce qu'on se voit, On verra bien ce que l'avenir nous réservera. On verra bien, vas-y viens on n'y pense pas. On verra bien ce que l'avenir nous réservera. On verra bien, on verra bien. Ici non seulement ça rappe, mais quand y'a un gros sommet ça rapplique. N'aie pas peur des insultes qu'on se lance aux consonances arabiques. On est tous dans le même bateau, même ceux que l'on n'aime pas trop. Car l'amour, le son et la bouffe sont devenus consommation rapide. Les jeunes pensent plus à des stars débiles qu'à Martin Luther King. Se lève jamais avant midi, à part le matin d'une perquise. Pendant que ses copains révisaient, le petit Ken devenait écrivain. Oui je pense qu'à m'amuser, mais pour la coke j'ai le nez de krill. Escrew, un 995, on n'en a rien à foutre de rien. Blackbird, l'entourage, on n'en a rien à foutre de rien. Nos corps fonctionnent à l'envers, on marche avec des têtes, on se sent avec un regard et on joue avec les nerfs. Moi je parle avec les mains, parfois je pense avec ma... Mais je touche avec mes pensées et j'écris avec le cœur. J'en ai rien à foutre de rien, rien à foutre de rien. Je n'en ai vraiment rien à foutre de rien, rien à foutre de rien. On verra bien, rien à foutre de rien, rien à foutre de